Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Craft Beer Hub. Today we've got a Guinness.
Whoa. What are you doing? Why are you in my house?
Why are you home? You're not meant to be home now.
Never mind. Right then. This is cozy.
I like it.
Good. I'm glad. I don't know how much of this is going in the video. We'll find out.
We can.
Cool. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got Mark with me from the Craft Beer Hub, who has broken into my house to try and drink my beer, but thankfully I got back just in time, so I get to drink it with him. And today we're going to find out which is in fact the best Guinness. Now, you may notice this isn't all of the Guinnesses.
No.
So it feels a bit arbitrary, but every time I put a Guinness video out there, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's draft, the nitro surge, whatever, in the comments is always someone going, either this one, or this one is actually better. So we got them together. I'm going to find out once and for all which of the alleged best Guinnesses is actually the best Guinness.
Is it worth pointing out that I don't think I've ever had any of these Guinnesses?
There's no prior impressions.
No
It's always good. So we've got the West Indies Porter, which is an easy supermarket buy here in the UK, and I have had it many times, but not for a long time. And I always feel like I like the idea of it, and then in reality I'm always a bit, I don't know, never quite gelled with it in the past. We'll find out today though whether that's still the case. We've got the Foreign Extra, which is, I think, most frequently stated to be the best. It's,
Yes.
give or take, the Nigerian Guinness is why it's been coined. However, this bottle wasn't brewed in Nigeria and is actually the Irish version of the Nigerian Guinness called Foreign Extra.
That feels weird.
Because reasons. And it's a big old bottle. And then we have this, which I didn't really know was a thing, but it's called the Special Export. And I picked this one up from Trembling Madness. And I'll be honest, I can't remember how much it costs, but for a 330ml bottle of Guinness, it was on the pricey side. So I'm hoping for good things.
Big things, okay.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So now we just need to get into it and find out. So we'll start with, I think we'll do them in ABV order.
That's a good point.
And so we've got 6% on the West Indies Porter, 7.5% on the Foreign Extra,
8%.
and 8% on the Special Export.
Okay.
So it turns out they're in order, which is nice.
Perfect.
So let's start off with the West Indies Porter. Didn't make a lot of noise on opening that one, but never mind.
So ABV was this 6?
This
That's
is 6.
higher than I thought. Because
Yeah.
it's worth saying, I've not had any of these beers.
These are all quite pokey.
I was never really a Guinness fan. I was more of a lager lout in my early days. You'd find me at the football club rather than the rugby club. So I was never really introduced to Guinness.
Well, I spent a lot of time in a rugby club, so yes, I'm well aware of it. But
So I think the Guinnesses that I've had the normal can. I've had what was the one recently? Haven't had the Nitro Surge. I had the Nigerian,
that one,
the
actual Nigerian.
actual Nigerian one with a foil top, and I have to say it was very good.
Okay, excellent.
I'd be interested. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, you need a top up.
Oh.
Right. So, yeah, we haven't really had many of these, so it's going to be interesting. So, firstly, aromas on the, I keep forgetting what I'm looking at, the West Indies Porter. How is it? It's got a lot of that distinctly Guinness stout metallic twang.
100%. But it's I know it's 6%, but I just, because it is a porter, I just expected it to lack a bit of character, but it doesn't.
No, it's very full-bodied, and actually, if you hold it up to the light, it's a very dark porter.
Jeez.
That's jet black. There's nothing bleeding through there at all. Head's dissipating, probably expected with a 6% and a bottle beer.
It looked good though in the glass.
It doesn't look bad at all.
But it looks better than yours.
Yours was poured last, so they'll look about the same in a minute.
Yeah.
Yours was topped up most recently. So, but yeah. Any other comments before we dig into this?
Bit of dark fruit. That kind of milk chocolate thing is in there.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not overly roasty, is it?
No, it's kind of this like lingering sweet coffee, almost like really sweet, like mocha, like chocolate coffee
I would
thing,
go with that.
possibly. But
It smells good though.
it's a little bit sweet, a little bit fruity. It smells better than I think I remember it, but I feel like my dislike of this was all about the kind of mouthfeel and the sensation. So
Yeah.
we'll give it a go.
Let's go. Cheers, Tom.
Cheers. Cheers, everyone. not as bad as I
I
think
actually
I
quite like
remember.
that.
Yeah, it's I remember this being really fizzy.
There was the first thing you do notice is the carbonation
It's heavily carved for a porter.
for a porter, but it's kind of there and it's gone, the carbonation for me.
But if this actually does originate in the West Indies or was designed for the West Indies market, I don't know the history of it, so who knows? Are they likely to be drinking stouts and porters slightly differently to we are? As in, are they likely to be cooled down because it's a warm climate? If so, cold beer and that that extra effervescence is a thing. So maybe it does work. It's just maybe I opened these before at kind of 8, 9, 10 degrees like you would expect a cellar conditioned beer in the UK. Maybe that's not where it's meant to be. And actually, these bottles are a little bit colder because they've just come straight out of the fridge. So a beer fridge, and they're not really cold, but
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think it's got a lot of character. Bearing in mind what's normal Guinness, a canned, or what's normal Guinness? 4.5, 4.2? Or is it 4 now?
I've not got one to hand. It's definitely 4.2 sounds right. Maybe it's 4.1.
That to me is easier drinking, and that's 6%.
Yeah, I'll be honest, my mind has been changed on this. I always thought I really didn't like it, but actually, it's far from a bad beer. We should probably leave a bit of this in the glass to come back to after we've tried the others. So, tell you what I'll do. Let me do a little final splash into each one.
Quite like that.
It's not bad at all. For some reason, your glass likes to get some head going on it, and mine is flat. But never mind. Right. So the next bottle we've got
Should be assisting you.
sorry, is the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, which should be the Nigerian Stout, but actually this one's Irish, so it's very confused.
So what is the link between the two? Why?
So, as far as I understand it, as Guinness has often done across the world, is they've taken their brewing to other countries where it's particularly popular because it's cheaper than shipping it.
Yes.
And sometime in the last 50 to 100 years, I don't know the full history, they took it to Nigeria. It was very popular.
Right.
So they started brewing it there, including a version of probably what was an older Guinness. It might even have been an equivalent of this, I'm not sure. But it was what became the Foreign Extra. It was brewed in Nigeria. It's a totally different place, totally different atmosphere to Ireland. Let's be honest, that's very different.
Yeah.
They're not going to come out with the same beer.
No.
So it might be the same ingredients theoretically, but I also doubt they're shipping Irish, barley over.
No.
And that sort of stuff. So
very molasses heavy, if I remember rightly.
that's the story I've heard, but I've never tried it somehow. So we're going to try the Irish version first and see if it is any good. And as I said, this one 7.5%. So let us find out.
I'm shocked by the ABVs.
They're high. Very, very lively.
This little number here.
Yeah, that's going to be post. So I'm looking like another very heavily carved beer. Something that's quite common today, it would appear. We'll try and there you go before it all ends up all over the table. There you go. It's a very, very frothy stout. This one.
Darker head straight away.
Yeah, it is. But it's hard to say whether the body's darker or not because, well, the West Indies still didn't have any light bleed through.
No.
But it's jet black once again. The top of mine's almost got, it's so thick that it's almost gone porridgey. I don't know if that's going to come across on camera, but it's got this real thick. That's not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's got like it's hard to pull specifics out at the minute because the head's so thick on it. It's kind of masking a lot of the beer. But
This is a little bit, this one.
yeah, it's like a creamy bitter vanilla, which I don't really understand.
Yeah. I'm picking up an element of that molasses though again.
I have no doubt it's in here. I'll be honest. With that head on it, I don't think I'm going to be able to pick out all that much until it calms down. But
definitely smells boozier. There's definitely something rich, bit of raisin, that kind of raisin booziness that you can get out of the stouts. It's starting to develop now, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely. Let's try and whip it around the glass, see if we can open it up.
It smells
Big rich treacle, kind of, yeah.
It's definitely smelling every bit of its ABV, I think.
Yeah, I'm tentatively looking forward to this. I think this might be special. Should we give it a go?
Let's do it.
Cheers. That's thick.
I noticed the mouthfeel right at the point where the treacle came in. It's definitely more roasty bitterness at the back.
More coffee.
Way more coffee.
Bit of licorice even.
See, I don't pick up licorice well. I've said this
Do you
before
not?
in your videos.
Yeah. I'll tell you what it is. So some people could just interpret it as like fruity derived coffee. Like coffee, like you get dark roast that's very much just like straight up bitter, just roasty intensity. Then if you get like my coffee knowledge isn't that great, but I want to say like Kenyan coffee, I think is one that's like has a distinct fruity
Okay.
kind of thing that goes with it, and it's nowhere near as bitter and as dark as an intense. Yeah. This kind of goes from that traditional, I guess you call it Robusta style coffee with the big bitterness, and then flows into this kind of sweet-ish, like kind of lightly fruited, like black and red berry thing.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of licorice, along with the bitterness. So it's a bit of a It depends what how you associate it, but yeah, it's something. There's something in there down that route, and
lovely rich sort of latte bitterness, roasted bitterness at the back.
It's not messing around.
But I don't know if it's a head. Is it me, or I see the brand Guinness and I think those beers are just there to be drunk. Like that beer is there to be drunk.
I know what you mean.
It's very rare that you associate sitting down and really getting your head into. It's not a name that you associate sort of sitting in a dark room, and getting your head into it. Yeah,
I know what you mean, and it kind of I think this effect happens on anything that becomes almost too easily accessible. I was trying to think of good examples.
Foster's.
I was going to go with. It's all right. Hey, the vintage is rather good. But it's true. Beer Moretti was the example I was going to go for.
Okay.
Right. 10, 15 years ago, like that was not an easy purchase in the UK. When I'd find it, I was like, and it was brewed in Italy then, it's not anymore, but then it was like, oh, they've got Moretti on tap, that's really exciting. It was actually coming from Italy, it's really nice, it's really refreshing. All of a sudden now, it's brewed in the UK and available in every pub you walk into. All of a sudden, I've not bought a pint for 8 years because it's boring.
Too much of a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is this kind of thing that goes with, and also ultimately, when you scale up like that and you're in every location, there's always that question of, does quality start to decline? And I think you assume that the Guinness quality is never going to be quite there just because they're so big. But actually, based on those two, I'm not sure that we can really say that.
The porter shocked me the most. I was kind of hoping that this would be. I mean, is it close to the Nigerian stout? It's not a million miles off. It really isn't a million miles off from the Nigerian foreign or the Nigerian foreign extra stout or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the porter's the one that shocked me. I think that set the tone now. That porter.
Just gone back to that porter. It's like a nuttiness now by comparison. It's got this like savoury, almost dry roasted thing coming through.
Where would that be coming from?
I guess just
difference in the malt.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of like mid toasted malt would end up with that kind of thing.
It's true to say.
It's always interesting going back and forth between beers because the first one you try.
I do this on my channel.
Yeah, it's good. I really like doing it because I do it with whiskey as well because like the amount of times I've gone, I really like this, whether it's beer or whiskey or whatever. I really like this. I'm sipping it. These are the flavors that I'm getting. I'll go to the next one or next two or whatever. Try those. Tell you about those. I'll go back to the first one, and all of a sudden it unlocks like 18 different flavors because your palate's become dominated by this. Then all of a sudden, like any roasty intensity that was in the porter, it's been obliterated by the foreign extra because there's so much of it. But that lets the other things shine through.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
I'm with you.
So
Interesting.
It's a nice touch. Well, I'll be honest, it's a hard call between these two at the minute. I think I'm leaning slightly more towards the foreign extra just because that's slightly thicker nature.
It's definitely more decadent, but I love how light and drinkable the 6% porter is.
Absolutely. Right then, let us get on to the last one. Right then, so the last beer, as I say, this was, it's called Special Export, and in terms of pricing, it should be special, is all I'm going to say. It wasn't perversely expensive. It was nothing compared to, the latest Brewdog Special or a Neon Raptor one-off or whatever like that. But for a 330ml can of Guinness, there's a quick look at it for those that are interested, it was definitely on the more premium end. So yeah,
it looked premium. The label looks premium. There is something.
There's a bit of an old school
Yeah.
vibe about that. I don't know if
It wasn't those old signs that you see out of the old closed pubs that you see nowadays in the city centres. I got that vibe to it.
So interestingly, this is just a miniature version, but something like that.
Yeah.
A bit that kind of. There you go. I've got Guinness signs everywhere for some reason. But there you go. So yeah, we're going to get into this one now. This is 8%, and we are going on a bar crawl after this. So wish us luck.
This looks thin.
This does look thin by comparison, and very
Oh my god.
agitated once again. It doesn't matter how you pour it, it's still lively. You need to be a bit more careful with the pour on this one because there's a lot less of it. I'll let them settle down and work out who's got what. But sorry, you've ended up with the float version on this one. Yeah, he's got the crummy pour this time. Another one that's absolutely pitch black. The head's actually lighter than the Foreign Extras. It's actually, I think it might be the lightest of the lot. I mean, the one on the West Indies Porter didn't hang around very long, but I even think that might have been darker than that.
I would forgive you for saying that was the pour of the West Indies Porter.
Yeah.
Thin, big head development.
Yeah.
Looks very carbonated.
And it's meant to be the bougiest Guinness option we've got.
First impressions?
Yeah, bit why? Why is it not as good as the not Nigerian Stout? Let's just try and get some aromas out of this.
I'm going to try another thing.
Oh, it's not hiding its booze.
No, it isn't.
That is, yeah, very
lovely floral vanilla in there.
As they've all kind of had, but it's all been there in a slightly different way.
Yeah, this is the most floral of all the beers. There is a bit of that milk chocolate. There is a bit of that coffee at the background.
I'm getting real ethanol on mine. Like really boozy.
It does smell. Yet again, we said it. I mean, this smell. Bearing in mind, this is only 0.5% point higher than the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. It smells 2 or 3, doesn't it?
Yeah, it smells proper big. This. Yeah.
Kind of got a bit of a.
I'm struggling with individual.
Ale yeasty sort of esters.
Yeah,
picking up from it. Do you know what I mean?
A bit of funk.
Yeah. Bit sort of. Yeah, funk's probably the right word, especially for a Guinness, because you don't normally expect that.
They're normally very clean, and this has got some twang. I think it's fair to say. There are kind of those base stout. It's a bit roasty, maybe a bit of coffee, maybe a bit of vanilla, whatever notes in there. But for me, it's really just been blasted out by, like you say, that funky thing. I was really struggling to put my hand on it because you were saying kind of floral, and I was like, it is, but it's a bit different to that, and it is more farmhouse esters, funky.
It's definitely
kind of
yeasty esters, isn't it?
Yeah, but that and just the booze element, like that's all I'm really getting. It's not.
Now it's settling down. It smells quite rich now.
I'm picking a bit more of that dark fruit, that licorice now. My the head on the beers is right down now. So.
Yeah.
Aroma wise, certainly the most complex, and you would expect it.
It's certainly the most difficult to dissect. I'm struggling with complex just because I can't work out whether there's loads of stuff in there and that's why I can't pick it out, or whether it's just being overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
By one big thing, and I'm not.
I just think there's loads of things battling for my attention here.
My assumption on this is going to be a Marmite beer. Pardon the pun, because beer makes Marmite, especially Guinness, but. You know what I mean? This is either going to be incredible because it's so bizarre.
I think it'll be good.
Or a bit of a regretted purchase. We'll find out.
I think it's going to be good.
I hope so. Let's find out, shall we?
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers. Okay, I'm not regretting it.
My track.
It's not bad.
Wow. It's the flavour.
It's intense.
It's still going.
Oh yeah, it's not leaving ever. I can still taste coffee, bitters,
treacle, licorice. Now you've put it in my head now. So
yeah,
I mean, pick it out. Now I'm saying it.
Look, these are all straight up stouts. There's no adjuncts here. These are just stouts made with varying different proportions of different grain start types. So ultimately, and it's probably very similar yeasts as well. I would argue this one's probably different given that yeasty ester, but in general they're going to be pretty similar. And this one's just doing something totally bizarre because we started off at 6% with something that didn't taste like 6%, and it was very easy to drink. We moved on to a 7.5, which whilst was boozy, but it's so thick and rich, and it was just decadent. Like it was luscious. It was like chocolate cake, that really, with a coffee chocolate cake. It was rich dark chocolate, like. And then this is just.
I can see. So you bought this from Trembling Madness, and I can see where they stock it. So I'm very craft beer focused, and if you put that in a can and labelled it up as, I don't know, any one of the big guys, you would even stick an Emperor's label on it. You would be like, fair play.
Yeah, I think so. But the thing that I really like about it is, like with the aroma, for whatever reason on this beer, I'm really struggling with the individual notes. I'm glad I didn't review it on its own because I'd have just been like, this is Guinness. For whatever reason, but what it is doing is delivering this huge quantity of flavour that lasts forever, but also what it delivers is what you expect from the default Guinness draft down your local, which is so clean.
Yes.
It's remarkably clean.
It's outrageously easy to drink for an 8%. And I'm going to start slowing my words in, I think.
And you need a top up because I had a bit more than you, so there you go.
I'll come here again.
That is somehow the least. It's not the least flavourful. It's like you're right. It's complex. It's got all these little bits. There's a load of mineral qualities in there. It's got those little spiky bits of almost like. If you told me there's like 20 different coffee beans that went into making it, you'd believe it. Like it's all these little intricacies across the board, which makes it really difficult to dissect when you're not an absolute expert in the matter, as I'm definitely not. But
Me neither.
you know what I mean, though. But it's
No, yes.
but yeah, it's really good.
I don't know what you mean. I think the overall drinking experience, this one, I think you're probably looking for that, aren't you? The overall drinking experience at the end, you're kind of going, that's really good. And I don't know why it's good. It just hits every note. It's decadent, hides its ABV quite well. The foreign extra stout for me felt boozier. If I'm honest,
Fair.
for me, but I drink a lot of beer.
Possibly on the palate, not on the nose.
On the palate for sure, yeah. It poured. It's a bit lighter for me. It poured lighter when you poured it. I was like, oh my god, what are we gonna get here?
But was it still a jet black beer? Oh no, that's the lightest of the lot. There's a tiny bit of ruby clinging through.
That is
the
the
bottom
lightest of the lot.
It is the lightest of the lot. Which is interesting. The only way to validate this is we need to zip back through them again.
Shall we?
So let's go back to the porter first. This was the nice surprise because it's an easy, cheap supermarket buy. Normally on loads of offers. I thought I didn't really like it very much, and actually it turns out having it a bit colder makes it understandable.
Oh, it smells good though.
That smells really milky now. Like
Really. I'm getting milky coffee now where I wasn't before.
No, it's really sweet latte territory now.
Yeah.
This video has been very unhelpful for anyone trying to find out what each one tastes like because they change after we sip
I was
each
going
one.
to say what we said this beer is now. 10 minutes ago wasn't the case.
So yeah, really hyper sweet coffee, milk chocolate, like.
Have these been in the fridge?
Mm-hmm.
So they've had the benefit of warming up probably a little bit.
Yeah, true.
So
Especially under that light. Yeah, definitely. Actually, though, to be fair, I think what I said originally is still true on that kind of aftertaste.
It really is.
The aromas change because it's warmed up, but I think actually they weren't so cold that when we first sip them, as soon as they hit your mouth, they're going to instantly warm anyway.
I would categorise that as a dangerous beer.
Definitely. You could do some damage with that.
God,
It's very, very drinkable.
Yeah.
Right then, the foreign extra, which I don't know if it's my favourite or not. I think it's certainly. Well, let's just try it again and find out.
it's so much more rich than the other two for me.
Properly cakey.
Yeah.
Really.
Cakey's the right word.
Properly cakey.
Sticky.
And I tell you what, people say it's nowhere near as good as the Nigerian version. So I would, and you've had that one, right?
Yeah.
What's your how far diverged are we?
I mean, that was a year ago. That was probably the second or third video out on my channel.
Right.
But it's definitely the Nigerian version was sweeter.
Okay.
It was certainly richer, which is quite difficult to believe,
Okay. Yeah.
but not as easy drinking.
Okay. Interesting. I'd be really interested to try it. I really like.
Memory.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I really like everything about this Irish version of the foreign extra, except I think it's just got slightly too much of that irony, mineral, metallic quality, and it just ruins it a little bit.
Mhm.
But everything else about it is very good.
Yeah, I actually quite like it.
I do indeed. Very nice.
This is. I can see where this conclusion's going to go. I'm
Yeah.
already down the road.
Yeah, I think we can. The conclusion is you should all buy all of them. I think is probably where we're heading, but we'll see. Okay, and then
The star of the show.
the star of the show, the special export, I think is called. Yeah, special. It's very hard. It's foreign extra, special export. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just not very good memory. So that's super fruity now. It's been open for a while.
Yeah,
It's changed a load.
This is another conversation. This is going to be another video that you're definitely you would be better at doing than what I would be because you're more articulate than I am. Beer
I edit my bad fluffs out more than you do. I think is what you mean.
Yeah, well, yeah. But beer, condition, temperature, everything else, time in the glass.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference. Massive difference. You know what? On the aroma of that now, I'm almost getting. I wanted to go down the route of it's like boozy blackcurrant. I'm getting like a
now.
yeah. I'm getting like a boozy sweet fruit thing.
I'm definitely getting the sweet fruit, but I'm kind of like vanilla latte, but a vanilla
Really?
caramel latte again.
Maybe it's. I mean, maybe. I didn't roll the bottle around before we poured it. Maybe they're different bits in different places.
And your receptors are going to be different.
Well, that's true. But I'm getting like a. So I was going to go. What I was saying was I was going to go down the route of like boozy, blackcurrant, bluesy, ribena.
No, I don't.
Yeah, try a change. Similar. Yours has got a bit more vanilla.
Yeah, yours doesn't smell anywhere near as creamy.
Yeah, you've got maybe it's just the head thing again. I don't know, but there is a slight difference there. But yeah,
Massive difference.
There's a French. What's the word? It's not a liqueur. It's like an additive. What's it called? Cassis. Yeah, stuff that goes into a Kir Royale. That's
Blackcurrant.
yeah. It's really boozy blackcurrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a posh way of making a lager and black, right? Like that's just, but they do it with champagne, so it's
It's a
posh.
proper way to do it.
Yeah, it's got that. Mine's got that kind of vibe
Yeah,
to it.
I'm definitely getting the dark fruit blackcurrant out of this, but I'm looking for it. But if you put your nose in fresh, I'm getting sort of caramel vanilla latte vibes again, which is
Yours was a lot
Okay.
more vanilla forward than mine. So, but anyway, it's the same beer. Weirdly, it's just coming across differently.
yeah, again,
Okay.
That for me is top draw.
It is very, very nice. And you're right. I can now see why Trembling Madness stock. Because when I saw it, I was like, why are they selling that? And then I saw how much it was, and I was like, really, why are they selling that? And then something in the back of my head went, no, if they are selling that at that price, because Trembling Madness don't mess around on budget. They try and get things down to the lowest possible. And it's still coming out of that. I was like, it's got to be worth something, and it absolutely is. My takeaway from this is, I'll be hard pressed to tell you that the West Indies Porter is the best Guinness in a supermarket, because a fresh can of either just a regular draft can or a nitro surge can, if poured properly, and that's really important, really important.
Isn't it, Tom?
Yes, it is. It is probably, in my opinion, a more pleasant experience because yes, it's not as flavourful, but you get the whole Guinness package, right? It's the raw thing.
Yeah.
However, if you don't trust yourself to pour it properly, that's 10 times better than a badly poured can of regular Guinness. So we're kind of on this weird.
Yeah.
It sits at the 95th percentile, right?
Oh,
There's a tiny. So,
Yeah.
but if you don't want a nitro product, then that is the best. It's way better than Guinness Original.
Yeah.
No doubt. That's
I have had that one.
yeah, and it's
That's
not.
bottled, isn't it?
You can get it bottle or can.
I've had
So-
the bottled version.
I've had both. Both of them are fairly terrible these days. They have changed the recipe. Someone confirmed for me in a comment on one of my videos, and it was it's not what it used to be. So I remember quite liking it years ago and trying it, and I was like, that is awful. It's really not very good. That is way better than that. So buy that one. Out of the other two, I think I'm trying to think when you'd buy the foreign extra, because this special export, that is a sit down, sip, take your time over it. It changes sip by sip. You're going to get a real interesting, intricate, just experience
To
throughout
the point
whole
where the two glasses
they're
were
different.
different.
Yeah,
And they were noticeably different on the aroma.
yeah, noticeably. So, like, it's going to change, and you're going to get a real almost nuanced experience with this. Like, it's a really distinct thing.
For me, that is absolute premium.
Yeah, absolutely. And somehow I'm sat here going, I really want to drink a load more of this for an extra, even though I actually think these are the better beers, and I can't really explain it because it's the mouthfeel, it's the cakiness, it's the looks.
It's more decadent. It looks better in the glass than the other two.
I'll tell you why. I think actually I've just realised what it is in the back of my head that's drawing me back to it.
Bigger bottle.
There is that, but also we've sat here for years now talking about big, indulgent, adjunct riddled impy stouts from craft brewers where you're like, yeah, it's really nice to get all this, but you know it's just full of stuff.
Yeah.
This has got a big punch like that, but with none of the additives, which makes it really appealing. The mineral, the metallic quality is a bit too much. It's not perfect, but if that's how good the Irish one is, and allegedly the Nigerian one's a load better, I can't wait to get my hands on that, because apparently that might tip the scales for me. I don't know.
Yeah, the Nigerian one is good. I think the thing I'm taking away from this, and it's like I said at the start of the video, I've
don't really drink Guinness. So I've had probably how many different types of Guinness are there? 10, 8 to 10. I've probably had
yeah.
3 or 4 before today. These are all new to me. Although it's got the same branding, the same message, and everything else, and these are so close together in ABV, and this is why I'm kind of shocked saying this. So we've got a 6, a 7.5, and an 8. They're all for different occasions.
Massively.
And it kind of makes me think that everyone was going, why did they release the coffee brew or the cold brew, whatever?
Cold brew coffee.
Cold brew coffee. I mean, there's just a Guinness for every occasion.
It's looking that way because quite often, in winter especially,
Yeah.
I've said, I'm going to watch a film. I want one strong beer.
Yep.
I'm not out to get off my face, but one 4% is just going to get drunk too quickly. I want something to pace over. And actually, your options in that higher ABV territory traditionally have been, as I said before, the modern influx of craft imperial stouts that are just additive riddled, which isn't always a bad thing, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy and have positively reviewed loads of them, but it's not always what I want. That extra sweetness, because just imagine the calorie count for a start, like they're off the charts.
Yeah.
Or it's a high ABV Belgian beer, which is one of my favourite things in the world, but you're not always in the mood for it. This sits somewhere beautifully in the middle for me, and I think, yeah, I could see myself buying a few more of those.
See, I would say for me it's dark room, 11 o'clock at night, Louis Theroux.
Yeah.
It's after a bit of dinner,
Yes.
kind of watching Love Island in the summer. And then there's like this. I'll tell you what, for the drinkability of that is barbecue. That is barbecue territory.
That is strong sessionable. We wouldn't recommend sessioning 6% beer, but if you are going to, you could do worse.
It's ridiculous. It's just like Coca-Cola.
You could do worse than that.
It's mental, isn't it?
You're right. It's not far off. It tastes, after you drank the other two, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It tastes not far off a soft drink, but it probably doesn't if you only had that. But there you go. There's your probably not very good user buying guide for Guinness. You're going to like one of these because they're all pretty good.
Buy them all.
Yeah, there
Buy
you
them
go.
all.
I think that's probably all we've got to say about it. So, Mark, thank you very much for joining me. Head over to the Craft Beer Hub, Mark's channel, for another video that we're going to try and film after this. God knows how that's going to be coherent.
Go out later.
And we're going out later, so wish us luck. But that really is everything. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind. And we'll both catch you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is going in. Break it down now.